All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Anuja Kumar. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is emerging as a global manufacturing and startup hub. India to open 18 new embassies in African countries. Indian Air Force evacuates all Kailash Mansarovar pilgrims stranded in Uttarakhand's Gunji. Government issues notices to 272 firms for not complying with corporate social responsibility spending requirements under Companies Law. Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra says blatant reliance on social media needs to be checked by citizens themselves to ensure peace and order in the society. Pakistan goes to polls today to elect a new parliament and provincial assemblies. And in sports, Indian boys enter pre-quarterfinals of World Junior Squash Championships in Chennai. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India is emerging as a global manufacturing and startup hub. Addressing the Indian diaspora in the Ugandan capital Kampala last night, Mr. Modi said many of the made-in-India products, including cars and smartphones, are today exported to nations from whom the country used to import.
भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था पूरी दुनिया के विकास को गति दे रही है। मेक इन इंडिया आज भारत की पहचान बन गया है। भारत में बनी कार और स्मार्टफोन ऐसी अनेक चीजें आज उन देशों को बेच रहे हैं जहां से कभी हम ये सामान आयात करते थे। संभव है कि बहुत जल्द युगांडा में जब स्मार्टफोन खरीदने के लिए आप जाएंगे तो आपको मेड इन इंडिया का लेबल नजर आएगा।
Mr. Modi said 11,000 startups have been registered in India in the last 4 years, making the country a land of startups.
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ही नहीं बल्कि स्टार्टअप का हब बनने की तरफ भी भारत तेज गति से आगे बढ़ रहा है। आज युवा देश और दुनिया के लिए हजारों स्टार्टअप की शुरुआत कर रहे हैं। देश और दुनिया की आवश्यकताओं के हिसाब से हमारा नौजवान इनोवेशन कर रहा है, मुश्किलों का समाधान ढूंढ रहा है।
Prime Minister also hailed India's ties with Uganda and other African nations, saying the resource-rich continent is now in the center of his government's foreign policy.
हमने 18 देशों में अपने दूतावास खोलने का निर्णय किया है। इससे अफ्रीका में हमारे दूतावासों की संख्या बढ़कर 47 हो जाएगी। अफ्रीका के सामाजिक विकास और संघर्ष में हमारा सहयोग रहा ही है। यहाँ की अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास में भी हम सक्रिय भागीदारी सुनिश्चित कर रहे हैं। इंडिया अफ्रीका फोरम समिट के अंतर्गत हमारा $10 बिलियन का कमिटमेंट भी है।
Mr. Modi lauded the contribution of the Indian community in the growth of Uganda, but also recalled the hardship faced by them in 1970s when some of them were forced to leave the country. The Prime Minister thanked Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni for re-embracing the Indian community. Mr. Modi also recalled his trip to Uganda as Gujarat Chief Minister in 2007 and said the memory of that visit was still afresh. The Ugandan President remained present throughout the nearly 30-minute address of Mr. Modi and also spoke at the event. President Museveni lauded the contribution of the Indian community in the country's growth. Mr. Modi and Ugandan President also unveiled a bust of India's first Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel at the Indian Community event in Kampala. Prime Minister arrived in Kampala yesterday evening and held delegation-level talks with Ugandan President. India and Uganda also signed 4 MOUs in the areas of defence cooperation, visa exemption for official and diplomatic passport holders, cultural exchange program and material testing laboratory. India also announced 2 lines of credit worth nearly $200 million to Uganda in energy, infrastructure, agriculture and dairy sectors. Mr. Modi will address the Ugandan Parliament today. This will be the first such address by any Indian Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind will be on a 2-day visit to Chhattisgarh from today. An official release said Mr. Kovind will interact with farmers and women self-help groups at the Integrated Farming System facility in Hiranar of Dantewada district and Jagdalpur of Bastar district today.
On the first day of his tour to Bastar, President will visit Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram in Hiranar village to see the archery performance of the children and will also see the Vedic mathematics class there. Shri Kovind will also have a lunch with the tribal children studying in the ashram. Later, the President will visit the education city where the students mostly from the most affected villages are studying. He will also inspect Saksham, a center being developed for handicapped children where they will train to read, write and live normal lives using various techniques. With Naresh Mishra from Dantewada, this is Vikalp Shukla for AIR News from Raipur.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has said all the stranded pilgrims of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra in Uttarakhand's Gunji have been evacuated and brought to Pithoragarh of Indian Air Force helicopters. In a tweet, Mrs. Swaraj said that the normal movement of yatris has again started. Yesterday, Mrs. Swaraj had informed that 115 pilgrims were stranded at Gunji due to inclement weather. They were looked after by ITBP and Kumaon Vikas Mandal. In Jammu and Kashmir, an encounter broke out between security forces and terrorists in Anantnag district early this morning. The gunfight started when security forces launched a search and cordon operation at Kotwali Gali in Lal Chowk area. In a tweet, State DGP SP Ved said security forces launched the operation following the intelligence input about the presence of terrorists in the area. Dr. Ved said 2 Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists are trapped at the encounter site. The government has issued preliminary notices to 272 companies for not complying with corporate social responsibility CSR spending requirements under the company's law. Under the law, certain class of profitable entities is required to shell out at least 2% of their average 3-year annual net profit towards CSR activities in a financial year. In case of not spending the requisite amount, the firms concerned have to provide reasons for the same. In a written reply to Rajya Sabha, Corporate Affairs Minister Piyush Goyal said centralized scrutiny and prosecution mechanism has been tasked to examine the records of top 1,000 companies obliged to spend on CSR. He said based on scrutiny, preliminary notices have been issued to 272 companies. The minister said this is a continuous process and prosecution has been filed against companies that have not complied with CSR spend requirements. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra has said the blatant reliance of social media needs to be checked by citizens themselves in order to ensure peace and order in the society. He said there has been a rise in mob lynching incidents recently based on viral texts on social media leading to mobocracy. The Chief Justice delivering the presidential address at a function organized by the International Law Association said citizens need to be more responsible and filter the information before relying and acting. Justice Mishra said Indian media houses must introspect and develop a sense of responsibility and maturity. He also said that freedom of press is the mother of all liberties in a democratic society, and the media should have its own guidelines for self-regulation. Justice Mishra said freedom of speech played a pivotal role in generating public opinion in matters of national importance, adding that it created an informed citizenry. The concerted efforts of individuals and authorities have gained momentum to make the entire country open defecation-free under Swachh Bharat mission by October next year. Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation has achieved this objective of ODF in December last year. An assistance of 12,000 rupees are being given to each household for constructing individual toilets under Swachh Bharat mission in Hyderabad. Here is a ground report from Hyderabad correspondent.
Considering the unique problems of Hyderabad and the challenges in maintaining community toilets, the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation has focused on providing individual toilets. An assistance of 12,000 rupees has been provided in 2 phases under Swachh Bharat Mission to each of over 2,100 households for constructing individual toilets. Roja, Basti Mahila President of Hanuman Nagar, is one among who built individual toilets last year. She says her 9-year-old growing child will now have safety.
20-25 साल से इधर ही है। टॉयलेट के लिए बाहर जाना पड़ता था। अभी हमारा लड़की अब बड़ी हो रही, बाहर जाना बोले तो बहुत बुरी बात है। स्वच्छ भारत सैंक्शन हुआ, हमको 12,000 गवर्नमेंट से दिया, टॉयलेट बना लिए, सब लोग यूज करते हैं, हम लोग भी अच्छा।
Meenakshi is living in Bhopal Nagar area of Hyderabad for the past 3 decades. She is now happy as they constructed toilet after she received an assistance of 12,000 rupees through the Swachh Bharat Mission.
गवर्नमेंट दिए, पहला 6,000 दिए, बाद में 6,000 दिए, अब अच्छा लग रहे।
Many more families also got sanction for constructing individual toilets and some of them are under construction. Lakshmi, AIR News, Hyderabad.
Pakistan will go to polls today to elect a new parliament and provincial assemblies. The voting will start in a short while from now and will continue till 6 in the evening. The main contest is between 3 main players, Shahbaz Sharif-led PMLN, cricketer-turned-politician Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and Pakistan People's Party of Bilawal Bhutto. The counting will be taken up immediately after the polls and the results will be announced within 24 hours.
Over 70 years of Pakistan's history, the civilian transfer of power is taking place only for the second time. The run-up to the polls have seen a massive crackdown on the media and allegations that the military has secretly backed the campaign of Imran Khan while targeting his political opponents. The military has ruled Pakistan through various coups for nearly half of the country's history since its creation in 1947. Controversy has also arisen over allowing terrorist groups to participate in the poll. The leading among them are Mumbai terror attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed-led band Jamaat-ud-Dawa's candidate. This is Subha Kaul for AIR News.
Indian boys entered the pre-quarterfinals of the World Junior Squash Championships in Chennai, defeating Switzerland 2-1 last evening. After an easy 3-0 win over 23rd seed Saudi Arabia, India nearly lost the plot against Switzerland, seeded 12th, before going on to win 2-1 to top the Group E. Utkarsh Baheti had to recover from 4-8 down against Campbell Wells in the 4th to prevent a 5th, but the Swiss levelled as Nils Roach won in 4, defeating Veer Chotrani. In the decider between the number ones, Yash Fadare played out of his skin out to defeat Yannick Wilhelmi in 5 sets. The final will be played on Sunday. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Saira Mushtaba.
Thank you, Anuja. The news of Pakistan going to polls has been covered by almost all the newspapers today. Pak may be headed for hung parliament, writes the Tribune, while the Asian Age reports, Pak set for historic poll amid army meddling charges. In her first Hindu woman to contest Pak polls, reports the DNA about Sunita Parmar entering the history books in Pakistan elections. The Supreme Court pulling up the centre for the delay in appointment of the committee for the selection of Lokpal is another headline covered in most of the newspapers today. SC pulls up centre for its delay in appointing a Lokpal, writes the Hindu. Rejecting the Congress charge of black money rising by 50% since 2014, the government asserts in Parliament that illegal money in Swiss banks has come down. Swiss cash falls by 80% since Modi took charge, writes the Pioneer. Under the headline, 35 government hospitals scamming 15,000 staffers, the DNA reports about swindling of thousands of crores in Delhi Health Department not paying Employee Provident Fund insurance and bonus to its outsourced employees. And finally, the Asian Age reports of another feather in the cap of Assam tea plantation industry, where Assam's gold tea breaks all records and sells for 39,000 per kg, the highest ever recorded price for any Indian tea. And with that, it's back to you, Anuja.
Thank you, Saira, for a look at today's newspapers. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is emerging as a global manufacturing and startup hub. India to open 18 new embassies in African countries. Indian Air Force evacuates all Kailash Mansarovar pilgrims stranded in Uttarakhand's Gunji. Government issues notices to 272 firms for not complying with corporate social responsibility spending requirements under companies law. Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra says blatant reliance on social media needs to be checked by citizens themselves to ensure peace and order in the society. Pakistan goes to polls today to elect a new parliament and provincial assemblies. And in sports, Indian boys enter pre-quarterfinals of World Junior Squash Championships in Chennai. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.